Hi, it's Kif Innovates here. Part two of a series on supply chain and blockchain. Now, if you remember in video one, I talked a bit about the problems that supply chain faces and has to solve in order to work efficiently. Now, if you look more closely at those problems, you'll see they all boil down to one or more of four different things. The first is identity. Who's involved? The second is authorization. Are they allowed to do what they want to do? The third is provenance. Where has stuff come from? Or what's in it? And the fourth one is to do with transactions. What event has actually taken place? And there's a reason why this stuff gets complicated, because in the real world we have confusions about these different things. In security, if you're an academic, these things are very well defined. In real life, we get a little bit more fast and loose about how we deal with these four different needs. So I can give you a few examples. For example, everybody in the Western world comes with a provenance document. It's called your birth certificate. But although it is fundamentally a provenance documentation, it is used in some cases as a form of identity to prove you are who you are. Similarly, in the UK, often in order to prove that you are who you are and live where you say you live, you're meant to bring along a utility bill, such as an electricity or a water bill. But that's not the purpose of one of those bills. Those bills are transaction documents. They record that a transaction has taken place. Another example is the driving license. A driving license is a document that gives you an authority, namely the authority to operate a motor vehicle, or in simple language, to drive. But in America, driving licenses are frequently used to identify people, and in particular to prove they're old enough to go into a bar and drink. So although all these different forms of documentation have a very specific purpose in mind when they were first set up, they get used for other purposes, and this can cause problems. So returning back to supply chain and blockchain, one of the reasons why when people who work in supply chain hear what blockchains are about, that makes them think that, hey, these might help out in supply chain, is because blockchains are focused on identity. And they're focused on transactions, and it depends on the particular blockchain and its architecture, but they also track transactions from start to finish. So you have a sort of chain of transactions which gives you a measure of provenance. However, you can of course do all of these things with a database. So then there is the final piece that makes a blockchain look like a very enticing form of technology to use in supply chain, and that is the consensus system. Namely, the fact that no one person is in charge of the whole system, and that they are designed to allow a large number of separate entities to reach a consensus and build a form of trust between each other, without somebody at the top basically controlling the whole system. So I think that's the reason why there's this sort of instinctive appeal to blockchain as a solution to some of our woes in the supply chain world. Anyway, that's part two. There is a part three to come, where I'm going to look particularly at authentication and identity, and that'll be in the next video. But I hope this video was illuminating, and see you in part three. Bye for now.